Okay, we're going to be solving more quadratic formula equations today. Solve the equation 3x to the second power minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. So, got x second and x, so I'm thinking, okay, let's do some factoring properties. Zero's there, you got three terms, so that would be GCF and the table, the T table. Trying to put it into two binomial parentheses. Okay, well, no x, no negative. 3, 2, and 4, the only common factor they have is 1. So that is a worthless box. Okay, 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So that's a mismatch. Since a positive times a negative is broken down into a positive times a negative, we have to be adding to get to negative 2. 12 divided by 1 is 12, that's negative 11. 12 divided by 2 is 6, that's negative 4, okay. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And now you're at negative 1, so you're too small to ever get 2, okay. So QF. Quadratic formula. Opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a over 2a. Okay, so plus minus, so the opposite of b is positive 2. Then b to the second, put in negative. That's the only time you make a variable opposite value, is right there. Then 4. A is 3, and c is negative 4. Then a on the bottom is 3. So you got positive 2. 2 times 3 is 6. I will do this one the long way by placing the minus sign right there. See, there's a minus sign. Now in front of it we have negative 2 to the second power, so it's negative 2 times negative 2. And then behind the minus we have 4 times 3 times negative 4. So that equals 4. And then negative 48. Okay, so when you subtract the negative, that's like adding the positive. Okay, so that's 52. So I find the square root of the number 52. The square root of the value 52 is 7.21. Okay, 2 plus 7.21 equals, divide by 6, 1.54. 2 minus 7.31 equals, divide by 6 is negative 0.89. So those are our two solutions right there. Okay, next problem. Negative 2x to the second power minus 5x plus 16 equals 0. So you have x second and x, so we are applying factoring properties. So there's two answers. So 0, check. And you got three terms again. But you are actually going to do a GCF on this one, okay? And the reason being, you don't have x on the end, you have a negative in the front. 2, 5, and 16 is 1. But it's not positive 1, it's negative 1, okay? So I'm going to follow my procedure and actually factor out negative 1. So it's positive 2. Now you're not putting an x down there, so it stays x second. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 is positive 5x. And 16 divided by negative 1 is negative 16. So you can put that negative 1 down there like you normally do at the GCF. And heck, you can see if you can get parentheses out of this. So now your a is 2 times negative 16, okay? So a is 2x second, remember not negative 2 anymore. So it's negative 32, a times c, and that's a mismatch. So I'm thinking positive times negative, okay? it's got to add to positive 5. 32 divided by 1 is 32. That's negative 31. That's too wide. 32 divided by 2 is 16. That's negative 14, too wide. 32 divided by 4 is 8. That's negative 4. Now you're too narrow. Okay, so that's QF. So, opposite of B, plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4AC, B squared minus 4AC over 2A, over 2A. Okay, so the opposite of B is negative 5. And B to the second, that would be 5 to the second. 4AC, so A is 2, C is negative 16. And A on the bottom is 2. Get rid of that negative 1, that's not needed. Okay. So we have a negative 5 in front. On bottom we have 2 times 2 is 4. Now I make a square root, and I'm going to do this a quick way. I'm going to find the number that goes in there right away. So I'm going to plug the inside of that in on the calculator, but you don't do square root. Okay? Do I make myself clear? You go parentheses 5 to the second power, a subtraction sign, then a parentheses 4, a parentheses 2, a parentheses negative 16. So I got 153. That doesn't go here. We have to take the square root, find what number times itself is 153, which is an irrational number. That's why the T-chart doesn't work. 12.37. Okay. So negative 5 plus 12.37, click equals and divide by 4. You get 1.84. Then negative 5 minus 12.37, click equals, then divide by 4. Negative 4.34. Okay, next one. 2x to the second power plus 3x minus 11 equals 0. So, you have x second and x, you are applying the factoring properties. So there's 2 answers. Okay. 0 is there, so you have 3 terms. Okay. So GCF and the T-table. So no x, no negative 2, 3, and 11. Looks like 1 to me. That's it. 2 times negative 11 is negative 22. So it's a mismatch. It's got to add to positive 3. So you start dividing. 22 divided by 1 is 22. That's negative 19, too wide. Or negative 21, it's still too wide. 22 divided by 2 is 11. Add those, negative 9, too wide. Decimal, 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 decimal. Okay, now you got 11 and 2, but you already have that combination. You don't repeat the same combination. That's a QF. Opposite of B, plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4AC, B squared minus 4AC over 2A, over 2A. So opposite of B is negative 3. And then B, 3. 4A is 2, and C is negative 11. And then A is 2. Okay, so we have a negative 3, and the denominator 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, I'll do this the long way. I'll put in the minus, and then 3 to the second would be 3 times 3. Then 4 times 2 times negative 11. you got 9 in front. And then negative 88 behind. Plus. Then I add those, you get 97. So the square root of the number 97 is 9.85. Again, so I take negative 3 plus 9.85, click equals, and divide by 4, 1.71. Then I take negative 3 minus 9.85, click equals, divide by 4, and we get negative 3.21. Okay, last problem in this blog. 4x to the second power minus 3x equals 5 minus 3x to the second. Oofda. Well, we have x second and x. X second repeats itself, but it's x second x. Factoring properties. You need your 0. So you can, if you have x second on both sides, and this is a negative 3, I would get equals on this side, okay, with the smaller x second. So then the x, you won't have a negative in front. So I would subtract 5. Now 5 can't go with 4 or negative 3, so we would hang that out. Then plus 3x second, and you can put that with the 4x second, or you can put it here, but you end up lining up your terms now in the proper order. X second, x constant, and adding the like terms. So x second, 4 plus 3 is 7. So it doesn't really matter if that 3 is under it or off to this in the hangout zone. For x, you just have the negative 3. And then for the constant, negative 5. Now it's just like all the rest of the problems. Okay, so GCF. And just like the parentheses have to equal 0, you can't do the quadratic formula unless you're at 0. Okay. So 7, 3, and 5. 1. Okay. So 7 times negative 5 is negative 35, so that's a mismatch. That is a positive negative combination, and it has to add to negative 3. So 35 divided by 1 is 35. That adds to negative 34. Decimal, decimal, decimal. Okay, 5 and 7. That's negative 2. That's too narrow. Okay, so got to QF that. As soon as when we add and it's too small of a number, it ain't ever going to get back. So opposite of B, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a over 2a. Okay, so plus minus, opposite of the b, the negative 3 is now a positive 3. And then b to the second, so negative 3 to the second, 4ac, so a is 7, and c is negative 5. Now the a on the bottom is 7. So we have 3 in front, 2 times 7 is 14. I'm going to find my square root the quick way. I'm going to go right to the value inside of it. So we would take our negative 3 to the second and then subtract our 4, the product of 4, 7, and negative 5, and I got 149. So positive, negative. So the square root of 149 is 12.21. So 3 plus 12.21 equals, and divide by 14, 1.09. And then 3 minus 12.21, click equals, divide by 14, negative 0.66.